The story is extremely binary in nature. It follows our two main characters, hero protagonist and YT, which stands for yours truly, on their job to stop a religious cult from spreading a virus known only as Snow Crash and brainwashing the world to take control over it. Hero is a young Asian African adult who serves as an information broker and hacker. Hero is extremely well versed in the inner workings of the metaverse, essentially a successor to the internet, which allows you to goggle in and experience the entire world firsthand. YT is a 15-year-old courier, spelled with a K, who makes deliveries to different parties as dispatched by her bosses. The two form a business relationship in which YT scouts information with Hero, and the two sell it to the CIC for a profit. Over the course of the novel, they are hounded by the Asian-Russian Alouette Raven, who is working for L. Bob Reif, proliferator of the Snow Crash virus, and Reverend Wayne, leader of Reverend Wayne's Pearly Gates, as the two work to stop the spread of Snow Crash. The book takes place in Southern California in an alternate reality of our time. The world is no longer separated by country lines. Instead, franchises have taken up residence in place of them, and laws mostly cease to exist outside of a very small pseudo-franchise that the United States of America has become called Fedland. This essentially has created a world of hyper-capitalism and inflation so high that most currency is now condensed to currency used in specific franchises such as Kong Bucks and Mr. Lee's Greater Hong Kong. After Hero's friend and fellow hacker David is infected with Snow Crash, Hero sets out to stop its spread with the help of YT and his ex-girlfriend Juanita. Hero discovers that Snow Crash is a technological embodiment of Ashera, which he likens to a metavirus that causes the infected hackers to lose their linguistic abilities and begin to speak in tongues, conveniently also becoming brainwashed. Ashera is a historical goddess from Sumerian culture who created a virus that would infect the Sumerians. This was stopped by Enki, though, who is likened to be the first hacker who uses his prowess over neurology to protect humanity by causing a divergence in languages, essentially causing the Tower of Babel event in the Bible. Hero then travels to the Raft, a floating grouping of boats in the oceans that is the epicenter of L. Bob Reif and Reverend Wayne's brainwashing efforts. There, YT discovers and gives the Nan Shub of Enki a series of words that can stop the spread of Snow Crash to Hero, whom after defeating Raven in the metaverse stops the spread of Snow Crash with Juanita's help. Back in reality, YT escapes and a battle ensues. Eventually, Reif's plane is destroyed by a rat thing, a cybernetic dog guard unit named Fido, who YT had previously saved as a real dog years prior, who accelerates himself into a jet engine, causing an explosion, killing Reif and Fido in the process.
Information of a technological nature is primarily communicated through the metaverse. When somebody has information that they want to give to another person in the metaverse, they present them with a card that holds all of the information. Upon receiving the card, the recipient's computer downloads everything contained within the card. Viruses like Snow Crash are spread when a user accepts a Snow Crash card from someone else in the metaverse. Non-technological information is mostly communicated in the metaverse as well. Juanita realizes the importance of human physiognomy in the transferring of information, so she creates a realistic facial movements for avatars in the metaverse. This advancement in the metaverse is what makes users feel more comfortable with exchanging information because interpreting other avatars' emotions has become less trivial. There are lots of well-made avatars with well-made faces in the Black Sun, so well-established people go there because they trust it as a place to exchange information within the metaverse. There is no distinction in the communications between heroes and villains because both use reality as well as the metaverse. The Mafia and YT are unique in the sense that they prefer to solely communicate in reality.
In Neal Stephenson's novel, information serves as a tool to claim power. The desire for information and power drive the narrative of the book. Information becomes a form of currency in this hyperinflated monetary world. People use information, as well as technology, which is tied to communication and information flow, to reaffirm their wealthy status and assert their authority or dominance. Therefore, power becomes synonymous with information and the ability to control the dissemination of information. For the most part, information takes the shape of a virus which can be transmitted both digitally through binary code and viscerally through bodily fluids, or blood transfusions. Stevenson attributes the historical development of different languages to an ethereal event involving biblical characters who used their unearthly knowledge of language to implant a virus within mankind. The primary method of spreading the virus is through a sequence of binary code that disrupts the hacker or programmer's thought processes, effectively brainwashing the victim. While information in many ways acquires embodiment through language and through the bodily inheritance of the virus, it also exists as a disembodied form of communication because of its digital and ethereal qualities, which strip it of any contextual or natural source.
The government has collapsed, leaving only information collection agencies. Corporations, called franchulates, have become minor nation states, without affecting industry or quality of life for the majority of people. In many ways, it supports the popular and dominant ideologies we have today. Materialism is the root of capitalism, and in this case, the world of information is one that costs money. This in turn leads to the government being run by franchises such as Cosa Nostra Pizza. Snow Crash plays with the idea of what it means to be human. The world's technology is hard, but many of the characters and elements in the story would be considered wet technology. Throughout the novel, we encounter many examples of technology working with the human body. NG, the Vietnamese security contractor, is actually not quite human in the traditional sense. NG would be considered wet technology. Severely injured, he spends most of his time ensconced in a sack of electrocontractile gel, controlling the van he inhabits with voice commands, which is not too crazy, but he is in many ways a cyborg. The antagonist, Raven, is actually not very human. He is an Eludan mutant with almost supernatural speed and strength, as well as being pretty much invincible.
Bodies within the metaverse can be seen as alien because there is no limit to what a user can create for their avatar. These avatars are glamorized more than human bodies are and given characteristics that are physically impossible in the real world, like hair that emits light. In the real world, there are humans and cyborgs. The most present form of cyborgs in the book are rat things, which are made up of pieces of internal dog parts and a mechanical body. They were invented by NG, who was a quadriplegic after the Vietnam War. He himself is a cyborg and is connected to a van which he uses to move around from place to place and blow crap up. Bodies are exoticized in the metaverse because users can create whatever they want. The book gives the example of a user with a talking penis as their avatar.
Due to the hyper-capitalistic structure of society, people are separated into fairly extreme categories of class. This class separation further accentuates the book's theme of binaries. There are those in power and those without power, who adhere to the rules and demands of the ruling class. As a result, there exists a major gap between the haves and the have-nots. Acquisition of technology as well as information determine class boundaries. As a result, social mobility becomes equated to technological and informational access. To have technology and information is to have power. The promise of social mobility through materialistic pursuits establishes a very individualistic society, with every man and woman vying for power on their own terms. Thus, those in power seek to preserve their power by suppressing and controlling the rest of society. Furthermore, the individuals in power do so by associating the illusion of wealth, safety, and stability with their franchises. In this hyper-capitalistic world, it is the haves which reap the benefits of society and the have-nots which suffer from the suppressive system of power. Furthermore, potential benefits exist individually within the novel. The actions of the characters are driven mostly by individual desires and benefits. At the same time, those who benefit in the narrative, while individually driven, strive to achieve goals that also benefit the society as a whole. For instance, Hero, whose character is considered a maverick, chooses to aid in the crusade against Snow Crash because of his personal desire to avoid contracting the virus. However, because his goals reflect those of society as a whole, he is able to benefit from his individual-oriented actions and ambitions. On the other hand, characters such as Rife, whose intentions rest in opposition to the well-being of society, suffer as a result of their nefarious actions.